College Sports, and we are here tonight to do a combo show of our weekend wrap-up show and the Big Fuss Show, weeks 16 and now 17 for college football and college basketball.
Can I please have your attention? There's all a commotion around here.
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.
All right, guys, welcome in. It's Brad with College SportsCast. I've got John Hammonds on with me tonight. What's up, Hammonds?
Not much, man.
Just here to talk a little sports, college sports with you guys today. So we missed on Sunday. We usually do our weekend wrap-up show on Sundays. And I was actually in Lexington at Rupp Arena covering a game. And that's the reason why I was out of town on Sunday and couldn't do it. But it was fun. Had a great trip. It was a women's game. It wasn't the men's, but I did get to go to Rupp Arena, the game. It was really, really cool. I actually done it for Furman through Greenville Sports Media. I want to thank Jay for the opportunity to do that. So it was a great time, and maybe there is opportunity for more down the road. So we'll see. I made a few posts and things. John, I think you've seen some of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
All right, guys. Weekend wrap up. One of the first things we talk about is college sports news. So that's where I'm going to start for tonight. I'm going to kind of do the weekend wrap up show kind of in the beginning and do the big fuss in the middle, and then maybe finish with a couple of things that we do on the weekend wrap up show. So college sports news, I'll start with college football. There's a lot going on in the transfer portal. Tomorrow's National Signing Day. But I'm going to start with Lane Kiffin signed a contract extension today with Ole Miss. Did you see that, Hammonds?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell the terms of the deal yet, but this is his fourth year at Ole Miss. He's 33-15, has 2 10-win seasons. And if he wins this bowl game coming up, which is a New Year's Six bowl, his second in 4 years, it'll be 11 wins, which will be the most wins ever in a season at Ole Miss.
Yeah,
which is kind of surprising with the players that they've had. The Mannings, and some of the players they've had. They've never had 11-win seasons ever.
He's filling up a really big roster too with the transfer portal. They're going out and getting some players. They're buying some guys, man, right now. And they're apparently they're supposed to land Walter Nolan.
They are buying some guys. They're
Texas A&M. He's another big one in the fish that I believe they're supposed to land him too. Yep. So, you know, they got a lot going on right now. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. He's doing a great job. They are supposedly, and I'm sure they are, ponying up a little bit in the NIL and paying some players and doing a great job. They're number one on the transfer portal right now. So, Josh, I appreciate you being on with us, man. I know
That's what I keep telling
you
people.
said you're kind of under the
That's what I keep
more
telling people.
more things
about.
that's going on.
I don't think you can hear me. I think
Go ahead.
you're lagging and you can't hear what I'm saying.
Go ahead, man.
Oh, okay. But what I was saying was the NIL. That's what I jump all over, Kentucky fans about. Like, everybody wants to get mad at Stoops' comments, but the NIL is a problem right now at Kentucky. Like, if you want to build this team and build this roster, you have got to pay some of these players to come there. And that's like a fan made a comment today on a Justin Rowland page. He said, I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money on a football team and give my money away just for a football program. And a guy underneath it said, well, then accept 7 or 8 wins and go to a good bowl because that's what you're going to get. Like, that's basically where it boils down to. Because if you start paying,
the truth is,
Stoops,
Stoops and Company has done a great job. They've done a great job with kind of being handicapped and still landing some top players out of the transfer portal. There has been, I would have went after, but they were simply looking for money deals, and Kentucky couldn't be a part of that. I'll tell you that. I won't throw names out, but I know for sure there was at least 2 that they were looking for money deals. It was too rich for their, for what they can do.
Yeah.
So we've got opt-outs. 2, his little brother at Maryland is opting out of the Music City Bowl, Orange Bowl for FSU as well. In our news, Texas A&M, another 5-star receiver, put his name in the transfer portal today. Stewart is his last name, 5-star receiver. They've lost like 10 now or something like that of those guys out of that number 122 class.
Yeah.
They've lost a bunch of them.
Yeah.
All right. John, do you want to pull up the basketball polls, college basketball polls?
Yeah, hold on a second.
It's a Tuesday night. I'll kind of let you run through.
Hold on just a minute. I got to find them.
I'll kind of let you run through the top 25.
Okay. The AP college basketball poll as of right now, week 7. 1 is Purdue. 2 is Kansas. 3 is Houston. 4 is Arizona. 5 is UConn. 6 is Marquette. 7, coming in at number 7, up 4 spots, is Oklahoma. Tennessee moved up 4 spots to 8th, Tennessee. Number 9 is Kentucky. They moved up 5 spots. Baylor's at 10. 11 is North Carolina. 12 is Creighton. 13 is Illinois. 14 is Florida Atlantic. 15 is Gonzaga. They dropped 5 spots after the loss to UConn. 16 is Colorado State. 17 is BYU. 18th was Clemson. This was one that kind of surprised me where they dropped 5 spots because they only lost by, I think, 3 on the road to Memphis, which I felt like was not worthy of them dropping 5 spots, but it is what it is. 19 is Texas. 20 is James
Yep.
Madison. 21 is Duke. 22 is Virginia, but they might be dropping out as soon as they get in after tonight because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Memphis is about to win that game. So 23 is Memphis. 24 is Wisconsin. And ladies and gentlemen, Chris Beard has Ole Miss at number 25 in the country in the top 25 polls. Chris Beard.
Yep. In his first
He's
season,
got-
they're 10-0. They're still one of the undefeated teams.
Mm-hmm. Nothing really jumps out at me when you look at these polls. But I will say this. I think Kansas is not the number 2 team in the country. I think UConn is. I think UConn's number 2. I think Kansas is number 4. I think Arizona is number 3. And Houston, I think, is number 5. And then it's a crapshoot after that because you got Marquette, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Baylor, which I think Baylor is still a really good team. They just had a bad game Saturday against Michigan State. It happens. Jeff Goodman made a comment about it Saturday. He said, "Is Michigan State really back?" Well, we'll find out here in a couple of weeks. One game does not declare them back by any stretch, but at the same time, it's a step in the right direction with the way they played against Baylor. I will say this on the Saturday slate that was played. We had some really great games. We had Creighton and Alabama that come down to the wire. Kentucky and North Carolina played one of the best games that I've seen this year. They always do. It's always a classic in the CBS Sports game. It's always a good game. There's been a lot of classic games in those games. What I loved about the Kentucky-North Carolina game was the shot-making ability from 5 minutes on in the second half, like the 5-minute mark till the end of the game. You had R.J. Davis pulling up from 40 feet. You had DJ Wagner taking guys off the dribble. You had Rob Dillingham making plays. It was absolutely insane to me. It was just like one basket after the other, and you didn't really know what was going to happen because neither one could stop each other. But Kentucky made plays towards the end of the game. They got the win. It was a resume-building win, Kentucky, because Kentucky needed one, especially after losing to UNC Wilmington like they did. I felt like, that kind of propelled them to, get on the right track and get started towards SEC play coming up. And they play Louisville Thursday. So I don't think you're really going to know much after that game because Louisville's just not a real good basketball team right now. And Kentucky could be the team that gets Kenny Payne fired. So, at the end of the day,
maybe,
at the end of the day, it's, I'm not throwing no shade at Louisville. They are what they are. There's a lot of drama involved with them, but there's a lot of good games this week. I think Oklahoma and North Carolina play tomorrow night, which will be an outstanding game. North Carolina goes from Kentucky to Oklahoma. Like, they get no breaks. And while we're on the topic, I kind of want to shout this out. This past weekend, Eric Montross passed away from cancer for North Carolina. He was a former North Carolina center.
Yeah.
Really, really great player for Dean Smith. I kind of wanted to shout him out on our podcast tonight. He was a real viable asset to Dean Smith and the teams that they had.
Diagnosed with cancer in March.
Mm-hmm.
He was diagnosed with cancer the same year. So
yeah.
So I'm as big a I do not like North Carolina at all, but I do not wish that on anybody and anybody's family. It's a sad, sad deal. He was only 52 years old, and he has a family, and it's just a sad deal that you can go that fast. He was diagnosed in March and then be gone. I mean,
Yeah,
so
it's
a sad
it's a
deal on
quick
that part. So
it's a
yeah,
quick
that
disease,
is
but that was something I kind of wanted to bring out because he was a big asset to some of those Dean Smith's teams. He played with Kenny Smith. He played with the Phipps kid that played for North Carolina. I think if I remember correctly, I think maybe he played a year with Stackhouse. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but he was a really good player. So shout out to North Carolina. They'll be in our prayers.
Might have. He was close to that range.
Yeah, he was close to that era. Yeah, but as we move
Big
on,
7-footer.
Whatever you want to go towards now. I don't really. I was telling you about the polls. I'm not a big fan of Kansas being at number 2. Like I said, I think UConn is better than they. I think UConn can repeat. I'm just going to be flat honest with you. UConn has all the intangibles. They got Tristan Newton. They got the kid from Rutgers, Spencer. They got a really good team. Caravan. I'm going to tell you something. Coach Hurley, Dan Hurley, has created a monster at UConn, and it's only going to get better as it goes. He had a great run at Rhode Island, but I think a lot of it too is some people say, well, how did he get so high so quick? Because I believe the brand at UConn is bigger than Rhode Island, and he had a chance to make that a big brand because UConn is a big brand in basketball. And I think that's what's causing a lot of eruption with this UConn team.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, they're playing outstanding basketball. So we can move on to whatever you want to talk about. I'm done with the whole college basketball stuff.
I got a couple of things that I want to talk about with the polls here. So I was very glad to see Memphis in the poll at the bottom. They come in at 23 after beating an undefeated Clemson team at home by that. Penny Hardaway has them playing some really good ball, and the Alabama guard that transferred in there is the absolute difference maker on this team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's just a complete difference maker on this team. This dude is a winner. I love watching him play, and I want to give a shout out to them. I know that a lot of Kentucky fans are not Memphis fans right now because of Penny and some of the things that he said along the way and stuff. But I kind of used to like Penny when, a long time ago.
As a matter of fact,
and
they beat Virginia tonight. I think 77
it's good
to 54
basketball.
They beat Virginia tonight, so
yeah,
it was pretty dominant fashion too.
That's another good win for them. Yeah.
In Ole Miss,
in
Ole Miss
polls
wins
there,
another
I just want to
game.
say that, but
I don't think you're hearing me. Apparently,
a team that's not in the polls that I think should be is Auburn.
Yeah,
Auburn's been playing really well. So I think maybe that they should be. All right, John, we'll move on to the college football scoreboard. College basketball scoreboard. Some games you was talking about that's going on tonight. And I'll let you kind of talk about some of the wins tonight.
Let's see here. I gotta go through. All right. So tonight we had when we go through the finals, that'd be a lot easier. Albany beat Sacred Heart tonight, 93-79. Mercer beat Queens, 84-65. Cincinnati beat Merrimack, 65-49. Western Carolina beats Vanderbilt, on the road, 63-62. Jerry Stackhouse is a walking dead man at this point in time. He's on his last walk, and that's putting it politely. So to move on from that, we have Wright State beating Miami of Ohio 92-82. George Mason beats Bridgewater College 84-60. Northeastern beats Central Connecticut 79-74. Kennesaw State beats Brescia 91-59. Furman beats Presbyterian 76-61. Cornell beats Siena 95-74. Chattanooga beats Gardner-Webb 69-66. And this is kind of a shocker here. High Point beats UNC Greensboro 74-63. High Point has got a really good team this year. They competed on Saturday with, I think it was South Carolina, and they hung tight with them for a while. So they got a really good team this year. USC beat Alabama State 79-59. USC finally gets up off the mat, and they finally win a game. Stetson beat Florida International 80-68. Yeah. Central Michigan beat Davenport 90-66. Indiana wins on a blocked shot. Morehead State was going for the game winner, and Indiana blocks it to win by 1 point against Morehead State. So Indiana survives the game
and was
against
down
15 at 1 point. Yep. Butler beat Georgetown 74-64. Georgetown is not a real good basketball team this year. Ed Cooley is having a tough time this year, to say the least.
It's going to take more than 1 year, I think.
Binghamton 74, Niagara 69. This is one that I wouldn't call it an upset, but it is because you don't normally hear about it. The Citadel beats Notre Dame 65-45.
Yeah,
okay, now I get that Notre Dame is not a good team. I'm not throwing shade at Notre Dame. There's a rebuild there, but you do not. To me, you don't lose to a team like Citadel. There's ways to go about this, but at the end of the day, it happened, and that's just the way it goes. Florida Gulf Coast beat Georgia Southern 53-42. Southern beat Wiley 82-49. Sanford beat Valparaiso 79-61. Sanford is a really good basketball team. They're going to be really good in their conference. Bowling Green beat Hampton 75-65. Georgia State beat Toccoa Falls 122-45. So I'm guessing a couple of these games are against Division II teams that they don't play during Christmas. Ole Miss is 11-0. They beat Troy tonight 74-53. Memphis beats Virginia 77-54. Memphis is legit, ladies and gentlemen. They are the real deal, folks. Penny Hardaway has got them playing some intense basketball right now. James Madison beat Coppin State 87
really good, man,
to 48. Northwestern State beat Southern New Orleans 99-75. South Carolina beat Winthrop 72-62. Indiana State beat Tennessee State 90-69. But at the end of the day, this game was a lot closer than people saw. It was tight up until the last 10 minutes. But Indiana State is 11-1. They got a really good basketball team. Here's scores as of now. In double,
they do. They got a really
in double overtime. Florida leads Michigan 91-89. That's still going on.
Been watching that game. I watched part of it. This game is freaking fire. This Michigan Florida game is.
Yes, it is. Both teams.
I was watching part of it.
Well, both teams are going at it. Yeah.
There was Stephen F. buzzer beater at halftime.
Stephen F. Austin is ahead of New Mexico State 58-51 with 8 minutes to go. Tulsa is beating Mississippi Valley State 59-38, 11 minutes to go in the second half. Southern Indiana is beating St. Francis, Illinois by 20 with 12 minutes to go in the second half, 47-27. Loyola Chicago is ahead of Charleston Southern, 57-46, 7 minutes to go in the second half. Southern Illinois is beating North Dakota State, 60-53. Oral Roberts is beating John Brown, 51-42. That John Brown kind of reminded me of the Remember the Titans movie. You remember, I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. You remember that part of the movie? Oh, that kind of reminded me of that team. The team from it's just a college team, but it reminded me of that little quote that he made.
Providence is beating Marquette right now.
Yeah, and SMU's ahead of Houston Christian. Drake is beating Alcorn State. Florida State is beating North Florida 60-46. And almost a halftime, Providence, like you said, leads Marquette 35-29. Now, Providence is a much improved team from a year ago. They was good a year ago, but they just wouldn't really, they never really could get together. They'd win 2 or 3 games, and then they'd just lose 3 or 4. And they just never could get together in time for the tournament, which that's why they ended up as 11 seed. And they ended up playing Kentucky in the first round of the tournament last year. But that's up to date on your scoreboard. There's a lot more games going on this week.
Right.
But a lot of games this week. This is finals week. This is finals week. Yeah, this is finals week. There's not a lot of games going on. There's a lot of games going on, but you're seeing a lot of cupcake games, because this is the time of the year where it gets kind of slow before January hits.
Yeah, there is.
So you're not going to get a lot of big time matchups up until usually the weekend. So, but that's it. That's all I know. That's all I have on the college basketball scoreboard.
All right, guys. That's been our college basketball scoreboard, and that is for tonight's games. So December 19th, Tuesday, December 19th, that's for all of those games for tonight. While we're on the air, we're going to go with some pick six.
Shout out to my dad. Today's his birthday, by the way. I just wanted to say happy birthday, Dad. Today's his birthday. I'm not sure his age, but
happy birthday, Duke.
Yeah, well, don't call him that because he don't like being named Duke after the Duke Blue Devils, but yeah, he today's his birthday. I just want to kind of shout him out. Today's a big day for him.
He don't like that name.
He does.
Blame him for not liking that.
He just jokes about it, but he does. He does. But happy birthday, Dad. So we move on.
A happy birthday, John's dad. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds real good. Yeah.
Pick six topic. We're going to go with, I'm going to ask you your top 6 bowl games that you're excited to watch this bowl season.
Man.
I know that they all already started, but what's the top 6 bowl games that you're excited to watch?
You put me on the spot.
Put the college football playoff, the Sugar and the Rose Bowl in there, I would think.
My top 6, I'm gonna go. Okay. I'm gonna go number 1, it's gotta be Michigan and Alabama. They're playing in the granddaddy of them all at Pasadena in the Rose Bowl, which, is one of the biggest games of, the bowl season. Number 2 for me would be the Sugar Bowl, Washington versus Texas. It's the second, I think it's the second best bowl, next to the big one, the Sugar Bowl. It's usually usually an SEC normally team gets in there, But since Alabama got to the Rose Bowl, they had to put Washington, Texas in there. So, and it's part of the college football playoff this year. It's not just a regular bowl. So, 3, I'm going to go Cotton Bowl, Ohio State and Missouri. I think this was going to be a really fun game to watch. The level of interest in this game is going to be kind of down because Ohio State's going to have a lot of guys out. Missouri might not, but Ohio State's got the quarterback in the transfer portal. Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. But still, it's going to be a fun game regardless because guys that are younger, a bunch of freshmen that didn't get a lot of playing time is going to get an opportunity to get some snaps in this game. So it'll be a fun game regardless. I would put the Orange Bowl in there, but it just feels kind of like you're looking at
it should be, but I know.
But there's a bunch. But in this game, there's a huge chunk of guys sitting out. Like Jared Verse is sitting out. Jordan Travis is hurt. There's just a lot of players out, and Georgia has got a lot of transfer portal guys.
Georgia's got a bunch of transfers.
Yeah, I would put them number 3, number 4. But from a fun game experience, I just don't think it's a fun game, man. Like for me, it's just not got the juice that it once had. You know what I mean? But if I had to put a number 4, it would be the Peach Bowl. Penn State and Ole Miss is going to be a really fun game. I think a win by Penn State entering the next year can do wonders for their program because Ole Miss is really coming down with the NIL, and this would be a big boost to their program if they could win this game and go into the new year with some momentum. And my last one, that's a tough one. I don't really know on the last
those are be 4 of mine.
I know who. I think I'm going to go with.
I want to put in there just because it's Georgia and Florida.
I think I'm going to go Oklahoma, Arizona in the Alamo Bowl. This has a chance to be a shootout. Even without Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma has a decent backup. Arizona has got a really fun offense. This could be a really fun game in the Alamo Bowl, in the Alamo Dome. And I'm going to be honest with you. The Alamo game they've always been a lot of games live up to hype. But there's been a lot of great games in this game. And the Holiday Bowl is another one, Louisville and USC. The Holiday Bowl has seen some crazy games. We've seen comebacks. We've seen beatdowns. We've seen it all in the Holiday Bowl. So those are my top 6. And I apologize to Florida State and Georgia fans if I didn't put y'all on the Orange Bowl because the juice ain't there, man. It's just not there for this game, honestly.
For them being left out, and I just don't think it's there for them either. Is my opinion. I'm going to put an honorable mention in here, at least for the Gator Bowl, Clemson and Kentucky. I'm pretty excited about it. Get a chance to match up with a team that over the last 8 years has been one of the better teams in college football. And it really should be an exciting bowl, I think. You got to put that in there. But I agree with the ones that you said. The Arizona-Oklahoma game is another one. And I agree with basically all the ones that you said. So even the USC Louisville Bowl, the Holiday Bowl. So those would be some of six. And that's going to be, I want to know your top basketball players before Christmas. Pick
Oh.
6. Top 6. You got to pick 6. College basketball players before Christmas.
Can this be my favorite or
I'm gonna
just?
tell you, we've seen one. I think we've seen one. I think we've seen one the other day. RJ Davis is playing some ball for North Carolina.
He's not in my top 6, but he should be. Number 1 for me, I gotta go with Zach Edey. He's the reigning player of the year.
Yeah, he's playing some ball.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and a lot of people think he's just tall, but he does more than just stand there. He's a legitimate force in the paint, and I think he's got an opportunity to win again this year. Let's just be honest. I think this Purdue team is the best team in the country right now by far. I think there's others too, but Purdue has got more experience this year compared to a year ago, and I think they're going to have a shot to win the national championship yet again. Number 2, I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to go with Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton. I really like this guy. You know, he plays really great defense for a Creighton team that relies a lot on scoring, but he gets the boards, he blocks shots. They're loaded with a lot of bigs. They got Kalkbrenner, they got Shireman, and they beat a really good Alabama team the other night. Alabama is a really good basketball team, and they took care of business down the stretch to win that game. When Creighton is playing their game, Creighton is a really tough team to beat. 3, I'm going to go with Tyler Kolek. He's the reigning Big East Player of the Year. You know, he started his career at George Mason, okay? And he could go from there to being a first-team All-American and getting to the Final Four. Like, that says a lot about what Shaka Smart has done with the guards at Marquette and what he's been doing up there in the Big East. And for me, I think Tyler Kolek is one of the better guards in the country. He's really, really good. You know, this Marquette team is fun team to watch, and I think he's the number 3 player. Number 4, I'm going to have to go Hunter Dickinson. I think he's still in the top 4. You know, I feel like he's the main reason why Kansas is where they're at. Kansas's guards are very inconsistent at times, and he makes up for it with what he does in the paint, and he can hit some shots outside. I think he's a big key to them down the stretch, and then especially in Big 12 play and going to the tournament. I think he's going to be big for him regardless. And 5th, I'm gonna go with Donovan Clingan from UConn. You know, he is growing as the game goes on. He's a 7'2" center. You know, I think he's putting up really good numbers so far this year. He's taken over for Sanogo left to go to the NBA. If UConn to get back to the championship game, I think they're going to have to rely on Donovan Clingan and what he does for them because he's a really good player. But, you know, you look at Tristan Newman, he's a really big player for them. You got Caravan, Spencer. UConn has all the tools to win it again this year. My last one, they was kind of like a tie, but I didn't really know where to go with it. I'm just going to go with 2 ties. I think Rob Dillingham is in this list. I think he's NBA ready. I think he has the body to be ready. I think he's top 6. I think he's top 10. And the other guy that I was going to mention was Wade Taylor from Texas A&M. He put on a show against Houston Saturday night. If you did not watch that game, you missed a really, really good basketball.
He kept them in the game.
He kept them in the game. He made shots, made plays. The biggest thing with A&M, they got to get healthy.
Yeah.
Radford's got to get healthy. Marble's got to get healthy. This team needs to get healthy because right now they're not playing the kind of ball that they normally want to play. So, to answer your question, Botkin, Michigan State, to me, they have Malik Hall and they have Tyson Walker. And then they got a bunch of other guys that are just seems like they're just really role players to me. And they're just not connecting together for some odd reason. You can't have two guys and then you have one of them go silent during a game. Like Saturday against Baylor, they come out and they just weather whip Baylor. Baylor wouldn't even know what hit them before halftime. It was over that quick. They played the best they played all year.
Yeah, they played the best game they played all year.
If Izzo's going to get to the tournament, he's going to have to do what he did Saturday. So that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Hunter's good, Josh. The thing about Hunter is he keeps them in games with the way his ability to move around the basket. That's my thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the guy that stirs the straw with Kansas, and he's the one that's keeping them there. That's for doing. I threw one out at the top when I made this subject here. I said, what about RJ Davis? RJ Davis is having a heck of a year. Playing against ranked teams, he's been 23, 26, 27, 27. I think he's had 3 games of 27. He's having a heck of a year and had a heck of a game against us, and he almost brought them back to the game against us last 10 minutes. So he's a heck of a player. Just want to throw him out there as, I guess, an honorable mention. We're going to move on to our no-fly zone, and we're going to talk about opt-outs for the Bulls. Here's my thing about the opt-outs and the things that I want to say to you. I realize that people are going to go to the NFL and you're going to have some opt-outs who's going to the NFL. But so the other day, yesterday, I was watching the Western Kentucky game, okay? And sadly, I turned this game off because they were getting blown out. But because they come back miraculously and won in overtime 38-35 yesterday afternoon. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, Wardle, they had like 17 players in the transfer portal and were missing most of their guys and got down 28-7 because of the transfer portal during bowl season. Are you a fan of the transfer portal during bowl season and all these opt-outs through the bowl season?
My biggest thing with the opt-out,
it's bad for football. Because here's my question though: what other sport do you see signing period?
You're dragging, Brad.
Football. So
I can't hear you.
So when the playoffs start, all your players are over, and they have the free agency period. That's kind of what it's like to me.
I can't hear you.
It's just weird. All right.
No, but you know, with the opt-outs, my biggest thing with the opt-outs and with the bowl season is I can understand from a standpoint if you're trying to protect your draft status from being injured and whatnot, that's one thing. But the transfer portal, I think, don't have really much to do with the opt-outs, because basically they're already opting out with the transfer portal before the bowl games are starting, and basically they're not even on the team. So basically that's a moot point. And at the end of the day, though, I'm not a big fan of it. If you're actually in a big game, like say the Gator Bowl and some of these big bowls that bring in a lot of money, I think you should be able to play in those games. Like you look at Ray Davis, you look at, I think Trevin Wallace is going to play in the bowl game. There's a couple of guys, and there's a few other guys that are going to play in some of these big matchups in the college football playoffs. I get it from a draft standpoint, but at the same time, I was always growing up, you know, it's a different era than when we was growing up. You know, you had all these kids that, you know, their dream was to play in the NFL, but at the end of the day, they looked at their scholarship and said, you know what, we're going to honor our scholarship and honor our team and wear that name across our jersey one more time. And that's just not what it is in today's world. You know, social media has taken over the world, and it's changed a lot of things compared to what it was in the early 90s. And I think that has a lot to do with things.
For me, John, I'm saying what other sport does the regular season end and then free agency period starts and then playoffs start and you missing all your players? Football.
There ain't many sports.
I don't understand
College
why
basketball
that
does
is
not do that. It's mostly college football, but it is what it is, you know, with the
no. Imagine if college basketball right before March Madness opened the transfer portal and all your players just leave right before March Madness.
That's basically what it.
I mean, it's just dumb.
It's crazy. Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't understand. That's exactly what's going on right now in college football. It's just dumb.
Yeah, it's
the whole thing is dumb. It should be
rule.
After bowl season. That's when
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with that part. Yeah, but I was just going in general how I felt
it's an absolute
about the
no fly for me. I think. Yeah.
I was just giving my opinion on the opt-outs. That's how I feel about it.
I think the whole rule of it is dumb. I understand the whole going to the NFL and protecting yourself and not getting injured and you know being at that level. I understand those. That's perfectly fine. I get that. I don't understand the transfer portal being open and just like demolition on your team before the bowls. All right. So with that said, the college football December calendar is crazy with the transfer portal, recruiting transfer portal people, with high school football, with finishing up recruiting high school football, which is tomorrow, by the way. And then bowl prep and end of the college football calendar right now, there absolutely has to be some changes. And what do you think are some of the major changes that needs to happen?
I think there should be only one National Signing Day. I think there should be just a February, and that be it, because you have too many flips. You have too many kids flipping to different schools. Like tonight, for instance, Hayes Fawcett put out a tweet. I would love to be behind that account, actually, to troll everybody. He put out a tweet that it was just him sitting in it was like a GIF of a guy from UFC. I think it was Dana White. He was sitting in a chair and he was going back and making faces. Like, he knows that there's going to be a lot of things going on and happening in the next 3 or 4 days. But tomorrow is going to be a madhouse. You're going to have flips. You're going to have teams that you didn't think had a chance to pick up these players do. You're going to have people outbidding players for NIL. It's a mess. I think that should be a stop. I think it should be only one time in February, if we're being honest about it, because you have too many kids picking and choosing and changing schools every so often, and that makes a horrible thing for college football. And this is a no-fly for me. I don't like how the calendar sets up. I don't like it a bit. I like how they do it for college basketball. It's set up pretty good. It feels like there's no rules in college football, though. It's like a Royal Rumble from the early 90s, and it's every man for himself. There's no rules in place. And it feels like there's so much happening, you don't know how to grab a hold of it.
Please postpone the transfer portal past bowl games.
Yeah, it makes
That's
it a mess.
That's the first thing for me.
It makes it a mess.
I don't understand. The transfer portal cannot be open for your school until after your bowl game. So if you play a bowl game on December 20th, then it can open December 21st. If you play a bowl game on January 1st, if you don't qualify for bowls, then you. But I just don't understand the whole bowl season thing and having the transfer portal. I think it's actually pretty asinine. Like I said, it'd be like college basketball right before March Madness, opening the transfer portal and half the players leave. We're going to opt out. We're just going to opt out.
And here's a big thing about that. If they did that before the March Madness, there might not be enough players to play in the tournament. I'm being honest, because basketball has limited scholarships compared to football. You might not have enough players to play. You might be playing some walk-ons in that NCAA tournament, ladies and gentlemen. George from over there in Pickering, Kentucky, might be getting to play on the football
world. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, it's wild.
It'd be like NFL. NFL regular season ends and they open free agency, and half the players don't. It's like, what? All right, so this is a segment I do on Sundays: the good, the bad, and the ugly. So for this week, John, this past week, what would be your good in college sports? It can be basketball, football. What would be your good?
My good would probably be Western Kentucky's comeback Saturday. Was it against Old Dominion? Was it yesterday? Old Dominion. Or it might have been Sunday. I can't remember, but I felt like that was an absolutely fun game. It was Monday. It was actually a fun game to watch. I just counted it as the weekend. It was a lot of fun. That game was really, really fun. It just felt like Western Kentucky just kind of they kept sneaking, and they just finally got it together, and they just came back and they took care of business and they won. And I felt like that was the good. The bad,
third string quarterback.
The bad, man. I didn't see. Okay, I'll give you a bad. Indiana blowing a 15-point lead to Kansas and losing in the last minute. I felt like that was really bad. Indiana should have won that game. Indiana should have won 2 in a row. They should have beat Kansas, and they should have beat Morehead State this weekend or tonight. Indiana, for me, Indiana don't have a real good team, and when you have opportunities to win those kind of games, you take advantage of it.
So, what's your ugly?
My ugly. I'm gonna go Baylor. Baylor, that was ugly this weekend. The Michigan State put it on them pretty bad, and that was absolutely it was atrocious. That was the most ugliest game I've seen in quite a while. And just I don't know if they didn't come prepared. Michigan State just was hitting everything. They was making plays, and Baylor just stood no chance Saturday. And that's part of my ugly, more or less. So, but my biggest ugly, I'm gonna go a step further real quick. I'm gonna say this out there, Tyler Hansborough. That was ugly what he did to the BBM fan base. You get on a thing and you start ranting and raving about how you didn't do this, and then you say, well, you almost lost to St. Joe's, which we did end up winning. And at one point during a analyst, I think it was during a show, he didn't even know who Aaron Bradshaw was. He said, I can't remember the guy that comes off the bench. Like, how do you not come prepared to analyze a game and you not know who Aaron Bradshaw is? And then you get on here and you start trolling Kentucky fans, which is not a good idea because Kentucky fans are going to light you up.
I hadn't even heard it. I'm not gonna give him clicks.
And at the end of the day, that to me, that was just an ugly, just trying to throw shade at Kentucky fans when, he don't even know half the time what he's talking about on the field of 68. So that's my second part of my ugly. So
yeah, but Tyler Hansborough's always thrown shade at Kentucky. He's always hated Kentucky. Always.
He always has.
He's always done that.
But the way he acted about
that's his. I mean, he's always done that.
But the way he acted about it was kind of unprofessional, I thought. So
I thought Purdue, their guard play, they had 2 guards that scored like 53 points, 54 points or something the other day against Arizona, beating the number 1 team, Arizona, who was really good. And I was happy to see that they jumped to number 1, Purdue in the poll. So that would be my good. The bad, I don't know. I'm trying to think of California in their bowl game. I mean, they just got rolled by Texas Tech. Texas Tech is really not that good of not that good of a football team anyway. 6-6, I believe, on the year, and they got absolutely rolled in their bowl game against Texas Tech on Saturday. My ugly, Congratulations, Bradley,
Couldn't hear you.
for this past week, week 16. Some of the stuff that's going on in that, some of the stuff going on in that program is absolute ugly. With Kenny Payne in Louisville, kicking off the player and not, he's transferring, he's not. I mean, they're getting beat by teams that are terrible. I mean, that program right now is ugly.
Well, see, you know, I made a comment about this today.
Week ahead.
Somebody had made a comment and said that, you know, we beat Pepperdine. We whooped them. We finally won a game we were supposed to. And a Louisville fan said, Kentucky is not Pepperdine. They come back, well, Kentucky's Pepperdine. And, like, you know, it's kind of like, it was just real funny. Like, Kentucky is not Pepperdine. And it's a completely different team than what they're going to face Thursday. So they're not, you know. But I thought that's kind of funny, that Louisville fan just kind of been like, well, it's not Pepperdine. Kentucky's got better guards than Pepperdine does. So, but the week ahead.
No, for sure.
You want me to go with the week ahead you want me to give the basketball
so
side
this
of
weekend,
things? You want me to give the basketball side of things?
You can give the basketball. Let me hit the football real quick. So bowl games this week. Friday night, we got Georgia Tech versus UCF. Saturday, we got Duke and Troy in the Birmingham Bowl. Arkansas State versus Northern Illinois in the and James Madison versus Air Force in the Armed Forces Bowl. The Idaho Potato Bowl is Georgia State versus Utah State. The Ventures, 68 Ventures Bowl with South Alabama and Eastern Michigan. Then we got the Las Vegas Bowl, Utah versus Northwestern. Shout out to Northwestern and the team in the 5. Coastal Carolina plays San Jose State in the Hawaii Bowl on Saturday. And then next Tuesday, because I want to get these out because we will not have a show on Sunday again. It's Christmas Eve. Minnesota and Bowling Green play in the Quick Lane Bowl, Texas State and Rice in the First Responder Bowl, and Kansas and UNLV in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Those are on Tuesday. All right. So you can shout out some college basketball stuff.
All right. For tomorrow night,
I
guess I'm going to go with tomorrow night. Baylor plays Duke tomorrow night. You have Oklahoma and North Carolina. They play tomorrow night. I'm trying to get these scores. Let's see here. There we go. That's Wednesday night. You got UConn going to Seton Hall. You have Villanova traveling to Creighton. I think tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Alabama plays Arizona in a late game at 11 o'clock. So Arizona has another stiff test. Wednesday. Thursday, you have Kentucky, Louisville. There's not a lot of big games on Thursday. Saturday, you got a few games. Arizona plays Florida Atlantic. Vanderbilt travels to Memphis. And you got St. John's going to UConn. And then Monday and Tuesday, there's no games at all. And I don't even think there's any games Wednesday. There is. There's 2 or 3. There's only one. But there's no games Monday and Tuesday. And I don't know what everybody's going to be able to do with their time because they're used to seeing football everywhere, basketball. There's not going to be a lot going on. So either you eat a lot or you sleep or watch reruns of Christmas movies, whichever way you like it. So,
well, there is on Tuesday, the day after.
There's some football.
There will be a few bowl games.
There's a few football games. Yeah.
On Tuesday, the day after. Yeah, Christmas. So, but that is kind of the week ahead. I mean, the main thing in this week is we've got the Christmas holiday season. Want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas time and get together and have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas. So our next show is going to be Thursday. We're going to have our game day.
I kind of want to say this real quick. I kind of want to give a shout out tonight. This has been a really tough year for me. There's been a lot going on in my family. There's a lot of things going on, just happening. And T3 Bracketology, if you don't know who T3 Bracketology is, he is a bracketologist analyst on Twitter, and he's one of the best bracket guys around.
Go to Twitter.
And he got me a Houston Cougars
or whatever
home field apparel. He got me a Houston Cougars Phi Slamma Jamma home field apparel shirt for Christmas.
Phi Slamma Jamma.
Phi Slamma. And I didn't even ask. And he went and got it, and he said he's going to have it here. But it's going to be after Christmas before I get it. But for him to do something like that, that shows you there's a lot of humanity in this world.
I wish you would have told him to use our code. He could have saved some money too.
I didn't think about it at the time because he didn't really. He just said, "What's your address?" And I kind of just went from there. But just shout out T. He did follow on Twitter. Me and Brad follow him. He does a lot of stuff with bracketologists. Him and 801. There's a lot of them guys. And they like to give me and Brad a hard time because we're Kentucky fans, but we dish it right back. So we throw it back in their face whenever they come at us with stuff. So we just like to have a good time.
NKY bracket.
There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys.
JBR bracket. There's a bunch of them.
And eventually, once we get our
kind of friends.
Well, once we get our coverage straightened out with our dial up and stuff to get better, we might bring those guys on in the middle of the year during conference play to discuss their brackets and their seed lines and such. Right now, we're having some trouble with our audio and stuff at times, which we're going to get fixed eventually. It's just been a lot going on and ain't really had a lot of time to figure it out. So once that gets straightened out, we'll figure it out. So, are we at the airport, Clark? Is this the airport, Clark?
Christmas here.
Is this the airport, Clark? Oh, goodness.
All right, guys. So
best movie ever, man.
We're going to have a show on Thursday. So our show will be Thursday at 8, just like normal. We'll do our game day pick'ems on Thursday, and then we will see you guys probably a week later because I will probably be doing a Christmas myself on the 26th, which will be the Tuesday. So we will probably go a week in between episodes.
He's probably going to be eating pecan pie. And if he does, please report to the authorities. Please report to the authorities that Brad is eating pecan pie. Eating pecan pie on Christmas.
Oh, absolutely. And some bourbon balls.
And some bourbon balls, yes. Get him some bourbon balls, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody please.
All right, guys. Exactly. I've been waiting for see you guys on Thursday night for our game day pick'em, man. I appreciate it. Have a good night.